So, hello guys. I am audible to you guys. So just drop a yes in the comment box. Sure, guys. So we will just start with the things. Welcome all of you. And here we have Praveen with us. And sure, we are starting here with our one of the opening ceremony of our event, that is Game of Souls. And here we are starting with our first webinar, that is Git and GitHub, Introduction to Git and GitHub. So here we have Praveen Kumar. Praveen Kumar is one of the man who is featured in 0.05% of audience that is contributing in Stack Overflow. He is ex Microsoft MVP. He is a public speaker based out of London. So he's completely a full stack developer. So I'm handing over the things to him. So let's start with the things. Hi Praveen, how are you?
Hey, Dave, it's going great. How are you?
I'm fine too.
Nice. I'm
Yeah.
just also looking at the YouTube comments. Yeah, a lot of people are looking at it. Awesome. That's cool. So,
Yeah.
how's everything from your side?
It's completely great. So, what about you?
Everything is fine here, and great. So, what we will be today? Should I start with my introduction and then go on with the thing which we are looking for?
Yeah, definitely. So, I will hand
Awesome.
over the stage to you.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
sure.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so that's great. Hey everyone, I'm Praveen from Chennai originally, and I'm currently living and working in London. And thanks GFG for this awesome opportunity again, once again. And today we will be looking at a lot of things related to open source and other things. Okay, so I'm also looking at the YouTube chat. So please go ahead and um, message your questions or anything, so that will help me in making this live stream more interactive as well. And okay, so let's see what all things that we are going to learn about today. So the first question is, a lot of people have this question: what is open source? Why people are so hyped about open source? Then what are all the different types of software that we have, different types of open source license, version control systems? Then let's look at one particular version control system, which is Git, and one service that is being used all over the world right now with a lot of things backed by Microsoft, which is GitHub. How we can contribute on open source software, what are issues and what are pull requests, what exactly is a Git flow, and how we can merge our code to others code. What are all the other features that are available in GitHub, like say projects and project boards, then GitHub README, then GitHub organization and other things. And then finally, we will be talking about something called as GitHub stars. And then that's the end of this live interactive webinar. So how is everyone here? So I hope a lot of people are watching here, and I believe it's going good, right? Great. So let's go on now. Let's quickly ask everyone, what do you think about Git and sorry, what do you think about open source software? What comes in your mind when you tell about open source software, and how many of you are aware about open source software? Please put in your comments. Okay, so let's go on. So an open source software is something that when you are trying to create a software or something in the on the online space, you will be able to give the control of development to not just you, but to a team of like a whole world. So that is something which can be considered as an open source thing. And secondly, when you're trying to put it out to the public, you'll be able to like get a lot of new ideas and inputs from a lot of different people as well, from the outside world. you'll be able to get a lot of things. So this is the main reason why people go open source. Another good part about this is, let's say I have a way of doing things myself, but what happens if I want to do it in a better way, or if there is any other better way that is possible, which I may not be aware of. There could be like a lot of inputs from the other people who are planning to contribute on it. So these are possible when your software that you are using is open source. So one of the popular one is Git, and GitHub is a popular service that uses Git for all the open source platform. Okay, this is what open source is. Let's have a quick look at the what are different types of software licenses that are available. Broadly, a software can be classified into three types of licenses. Number one, commercial license, commercial software. The best example is all the operating systems, like the two operating systems by Microsoft and Apple. So any operating system that is like Mac OS or Microsoft Windows is going to be a commercial software. You have to pay for it, and you don't get the source code of it, right? So that is a commercial software. And there is something called as free software. So how many of you have used the what do you call this, 7-zip? 7-zip is open source, I believe. So a lot of people have okay, how many of you have used Google Chrome? Google Chrome is a free software, but it's not open source, I believe so. Or wait, Google Chrome is also open source. This is interesting. So let me come up with a free software. So there are a lot of software that you can use for free, but you don't get to take the source code out, right? So those kind of software are all free software. Okay. So the other part of the free software is open source, which means you have the complete source code given to you. Not only that, you will also be able to like take contribute to the software. For example, I have been using something called as React.js for about like 6 years now. And if I have an awesome idea which kind of like makes React.js improve a lot, I can actually go to the source code of React.js and then add it to their source code base, and that source code will be used by another millions of people who are using React.js. So that is the power of open source. So this is what I was trying to say. What is the difference between a free software, a commercial software, and the open source software? So when I say that you can also use the source, you can also contribute to the source code, then in that case, open source software comes under free software. And there are other software licenses like freemium and like adware, those kind of things, trialware, annoyware. A lot of things are there. We won't go into that part because this is open source, and open source doesn't come with any of these strings. Generally, all these software that you have seen in the past will be the commercial software, and free software will have something like a copyright, right? So open source is always copy left, which means there is no copyrights attached to it. You cannot copyright an open source software. Then what is the model of open source software where you can try to get like what is the benefit in that case? One benefit is the software that you have written will be used by a lot of people because it's free, right? So free, and you give the ultimate permission to use for whatever you want. So in that case, you are actually nurturing a lot of different companies to make use of it and then start working on it. So that's one thing. The second thing is, when that happens, you get a good reputation, you get a good following, and then a lot of people come to know about you. Finally, it's all about money, right? So what happens as an individual, if you start working or contributing towards open source software, you are being identified as an awesome developer, and then a lot of people will be like a lot of people can come and like they come to know about you. So in that way, a lot of people can like a lot of companies will be looking at your profile, and you will be able to get a good like an employment or something like that. So this is something which I wanted to say regarding the what one of the benefits of open source software, which is not directly monetary benefits, but there are other things. And let's have a quick look at the different licenses of open source software. In the meantime, I'll just have a quick look at the questions here. So a lot of people have asked, have actually told Git. Yeah, that's awesome. So that's one of the best things. And okay, I need to also introduce about myself. Yeah, I started my career as a web developer, and right now I'm a full stack JavaScript developer, which means I work as a front end developer, as a back end developer, and I also deploy things. I create complete web applications. So that is what is meant by a full stack developer. So a full stack developer is a combination of, the version control systems, front end development, back end development, DevOps, deployment, and all those things. So this is a full stack development. Okay, I keep saying I'm a full stack developer and other things. So what does that prove? Like, let me share my screen and show exactly what would be what I have got with me. So just give me a second. So let me know once you are able to see the screen. Okay, that is very small. Yeah, hey. So I keep saying that I'm a full stack developer, right? So what is a full stack developer without a website? So this is my website. It looks like this, and I would urge everyone to create your own personal portfolio, something like this. So it has a quick introduction about me, and then this is what I have been doing, what are my skills, what is my experience, what I have studied so far, and all these numbers are made up. Actually, they are like very less compared to what is in real. And then there is my portfolio where I have kept all my like whatever I have done, and there is a blog. See, the main thing when you learn something new, it is always better you start sharing with people. So like, for example, I've been in the industry for a long time, and then I have learned a lot of things. So I would always urge everyone to be like me. Just share your knowledge with everyone, and that also is one of the open source principles. Then this is what people talk behind me, and there is a way to keep in touch with me. I'm extremely active in LinkedIn and also in YouTube. So that is where you can catch me always. And apart from that, let's quickly look into what are all the different open source software licenses. So what I'm going to show is, this is a website which is called as choose an open source license. Okay, so what this does is, you've got different types of like open source softwares that are available, open source licenses that are available to choose from the available licenses. So this will actually ask you a lot of questions. For example, do you want to work as a community, or do you want it to be like, it should be simple and it should be permissible? At the same time, I don't want a lot of things are there. Then you care about a lot about sharing and other things. And then there will be a lot of choices as well. So there could be like, say you don't want to have a license, you don't want to choose a license, even that is perfectly fine. A software license can be with no license as well. That is allowed in open source software. So those are the different things. So if you want to see, each of these things has different rules and regulations. Let's say I want to work in a community. So we are all a family, we are all um, developers, and we want to work together. In that case, what we can do is, we will say like, I need to work in a community. So existing projects, there are like so many existing projects and communities are there. So you can use any of these licenses. For example, anything that is related to Apache that uses Apache license 2.0, that is open source license. Then generally, most of the people, they are using something called as GNU General Public License. This is GNU GPL version 3, and that is one of the most common license that's been used by a lot of people. Then there are like OpenBSD license. Then there are like WordPress license is also GNU GPL v2. Okay, and how many of you have heard of jQuery? jQuery uses MIT license. So these licenses are different in their own terms, and then they have their own permissible limits and other stuff. So this is about the software licenses that we have learnt about. Let me have a quick look at the chat messages. So Daksh is asking how to participate in GSOC 2021. There will be applications open soon for Google Summer of Code. Personally, I haven't got any luck with it, so I'm sorry about that. So the next question I would say is, let's go with Lagan Verma's first sem question. So Lagan, so you have if you are in first sem, that is completely fine. You are actually good. You got the idea to start it right away, which is really appreciable, because a lot of people are delaying a lot. For example, if you look at me, I have never worked on open source or came out public a lot of times. So it is always better to start early and then understand what things are happening. So you are in the first sem CSE, that's great. The first thing that you'll need to do is understand and identify what are your strengths. So for example, everyone will have something that they are fond of. For example, I love working with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React JS, Node.js. This is my stack. Previously, I was also working with LAMP stack. So these kind of things, I know that what I'm working on, or what I'm good at. So that is the same thing that you need to identify what you're good at and what you want to work on. And the second thing that you want to see is what are all the different projects that are available for you to start with. I'll just show you in my screen, and this is for everyone. This will actually help everyone. So if you go to github.com, this is what github.com looks like, and there is something called as issues, where good first issue. Okay, if you just search for it, and then if you click on this issues, there are like 1 million issue that can be a good first issue. And one more thing is, there are like so many open issues. And finally, coming to our languages, so what I would say is, choose a language that works better for you. And by looking at this particular thing, a lot of things are like, the most trending software is obviously, number one is Python, number two is JavaScript. I'm happy to be number two, because I don't know Python. So if I say like, okay, I know JavaScript and React JS, this is what I know, and this is what I'm so good at, I will be very passionate at. So I'll just go with JavaScript. And then if I do this, it looks at looking at this, there are like so many things are there. So initialize the project, and I believe this is a React Native. Initializing a project doesn't take much difficulty. So there are like so many things that you can work on. So this is what I was trying to say, what would be the best way to start with. And what else do we have got here? So already there are like 48,544 issues, which is which can be a good first issue for beginners to start. And this is one of the best ways for starting something new. Okay, let's go for the next question again by Lagan Verma. How can I create my own website with software? Okay, there are a couple of things that we can do. We'll stick with GitHub for now. If you have had a look at my previous webinars on my channel, hey Dave, can I mention my channel here? Like it's if you click on, hey, I mean, check out my channel for this.
Sure, you can go with this.
All right. So yeah, I'll just put this in the private chat. You want to flash it for a second? Yeah. So here's my channel link, or you can just click on my face and open my channel. So there you can easily look at. I have created a lot of beginner. Like guidance on how to create your own portfolio. So go check out, subscribe to my channel. Everyone watching, if you go and subscribe to my channel, I'll be more motivated to do a lot of things. But yes, so that's one thing. So you will be finding a lot of things there. Okay, so now coming back to our issues, go for the first issue, so that you can start with something very simple and easy. Okay, Daksh is asking a question: should we focus on open source, competitive programming, or just work on our personal projects? How to decide among these, or we should do these things parallelly? That's a really good question, Daksh. The first thing which I would say is, I'll start with the first question: should we focus open source or competitive programming, or just work on our personal project? First thing, priorities which is which you want to do. Your personal projects can be competitive programming related, and they can be on the GitHub, putting it into the open source world. It is like having all these three things mixed and it is together. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, if you would like to choose any two of these things, try to prioritize and choose it. First thing is, you need to, if you are taking up something new, it has to be like from your heart. For example, I have been doing a lot of webinars, but at the same time I should also be aware about my health, my time, and also my motivation on it. So those kind of things you have to be aware of. And finally, coming to the whether you need to do it parallelly or um, like anytime. So it is they are all interrelated, that's what I would say. And try to make whatever possible, like for example, combine two things. um, I'm not sure much about competitive programming, but if you want to do your personal project in the open source way, you will be getting a lot and lot of um, new items, like new questions or something like that. For example, let me show you something. So this is my GitHub profile, and what I did was, I got this awesome idea of, like, I want to create an idea repository. All right, so this is something which I created for the Hacktoberfest. So I created something called as Hacktoberfest project ideas, and then I asked everyone to give your own ideas. Look at this, there are like so many people would like to help me with it. So this is my personal project. At the same time, I'm getting the community support, like, you can do this one, you can do that one. Look, so many ideas are coming up here. So this is what exactly I'm so happy about putting this as an open source project. So this is something which, this is my personal project as well as it's my open source project. With respect to competitive programming, I don't think I would be the right person to answer. But always, if you are going for anything that is your passion, try taking it to open source, unless and until it has some kind of sensitive information. For example, I work for a different clients, I work in the banking industry. I cannot put everything, whatever I'm working on, the online public, right? So those kind of things I can't put it online or open source. But at the same time, let's say today I solved a big thing by like by a small, like a four lines of code that actually helps others. I'm gonna do, like, I try to create a small like, for example, this is my blog site. So most of the technical blogs, if you see here, it looks like that. For example, um, yeah, so I had a problem here. Okay, so I was using React.js, but at the same time I want to use HTTPS, and I want to avoid this CORS issue. So this, I first start with what exactly is my issue, and what are all the strategies I'm going to follow, and then what exactly is available to me at the moment, and then what exactly I'm using here, and then finally, what is the solution that I had got, or like I preferred, or something like that. Then finally, this is the solution I achieved. And if you want to do this, please go ahead, do these steps. And then for Mac OS, for Windows, this is how you need to do. And that's all, you have got the thing updated. And for that, this is something really helpful for me, like helpful for a lot of people. Getting a local host to say that it is a secured, the secured symbol coming here is really a big thing, right? So this is what exactly I achieved here. So that is something which I'm proud of, and then I also shared it with other people. So this is something which I was trying to say. This is what I generally do with whatever is happening with me. So that's one thing. And apart from that, yeah, so that is what is the advice I would give to everyone. Soham, I just answered your question, how to start with open source. So just go here to the GitHub, like search in GitHub for good first issue or something like that, and then search for the JavaScript and open issues. The first thing which actually I'm a huge follower of this, my friend who his name is Eddie Jody, and he's one of the stars of GitHub. It is awarded only for like 25 to 30 people in the whole 1 million people, so he's one of them. And what he said was, if you are going for something, okay, there is something called as good first issue, try to look at all the closed issues. There are no closed issues and there is only open issue, and that is also they haven't done much here. So thinking about this one, should we also even to should we even go for contributing it? So this will give you a good idea about how people are active in the particular community or repository. So this will give you an idea about whether you should go ahead to contribute in this repository or not. So that is one thing. The next question would be how to make logs in Git, and which is the Git which is best, Git CLI or Git desktop. Okay, for Git CLI or Git desktop, I'm going to give a straightforward answer. It's my humble opinion. uh, First thing, it is opinion based. Some people like to use the GUI version, some people would like to use the the normal command line. I'm the one who use command line. The reason why I use command lines are three things. Number one, I have the best control of what all commands that I'm going to do. Number two, Git GUI or desktop doesn't have all the features that you would for normally see in command line. And the number three is, whenever you Git desktop or Git GUI fails, always it is the command line that comes to your help and comes to save you. So these are the different reasons I would say I'll go with the Git command line interface. And not only that, I've got this awesome, sorry, just a second. I've got this Git shortcuts kind of thing for everyone. So there are like two things which I have written. So one is the Git basics. This will give you a quick start guide for all the all the new things. Like if you are very much new to Git and GitHub, so this is the way you can learn Git easily. So it is completely with images and other things. What you can do is go to my blog and type in for Git, and the first thing comes is the Git basics, I believe. Take some time. Yeah. So Git basics of Git. And then the other thing which I really love is the Git shortcuts. Who wants to be lazy? Who is not lazy here? I'm definitely a lazy person. The one of the worst laziest person you can find in the whole earth is me. Okay. So if you look at this one, this has almost everything. Like for example, it has what should I say? This one has like a lot of things. For example, from doing, I mean, it just has a lot of things. So starting from status, the basic status, adding, committing, diffing between the version control versions, hiding and showing files for the version control system, whether it is changed or not changed, use resetting the commits, using logs, etc. All these things are available here. For example, someone was asking about the log, so you can, I have actually created different types of Git logs here, which I'll show you later. And so these are the things that we can do in do using these shortcuts. I'm basically a lazy person. So if you are more lazy, I have also another solution for it. There is something called as an all-in-one. All you need to do is copy the whole thing and then start using these things. Just have a quick look at this article, and this will be like really making very easy work for you. This is something which I wanted to tell everyone. Then okay, let's go ahead with our flow. Okay, so what are all the VCS version control system services that are available right now? The most common are like GitHub, GitHub, GitLab, and then Bitbucket. These are the three most common things. So if you say popular version control services, so if you see this, okay, these are the version control software, um, hosted version control system. This is what we are looking for actually. So if you see this one, you can easily find a lot of things that are um, that you will be aware of. Okay, so for example, let's try looking at this one. So number one obviously is GitLab. I don't know why, because I mean, it could be because they have been in the market uh, giving a lot of stuff to GitHub. But obviously the third one comes as Bitbucket, which is Atlassian. So these three people are like extremely competing with each other. And then there are like so many other things. I don't understand how Kiln will be really is it I haven't even thought about that. I haven't even heard about this. Haven't even heard about Codeberg or something like that. So there is a lot of things that are like compared with each other. So let's go with the top three, which is GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket. The most common is GitHub because it is backed by Microsoft and they are giving a lot of goodies for people who are entering the open source field. So these are the things that makes GitHub stand apart. So this is something which I wanted to tell. And let's have a look at how GitHub works, and let's do something in a small simple way. Okay, so I'm just gonna share another screen. I don't know if that is going to work correctly. Just give me a second. Let me share my screen again. I hope it is visible to everyone. Right. Superb. So here's my GitHub profile right now. So what I'm doing here is, so this is how GitHub looks like. So the first thing is, this is a profile where this is one of the newest features in GitHub, which is profile README. So when you have a GitHub profile, which is GitHub repository, which is same as your profile name. For example, my GitHub username is Praveen Science. If I have a repository called Praveen Science / Praveen Science, so this is the repository name. You can use this README file as the GitHub's, the one which shows the same thing in the GitHub profile. So if I go to my profile here, I can see the same page that's been here, and this page is completely open source, which means anyone can go ahead and give a what do you call this? You can suggest for changes. And secondly, let's directly get into how to contribute to open source software. Okay, the first thing which I will be saying is, how many of you here know what is Hacktoberfest? Soham, I'm actually answering your question if that is helping you. Okay, so this is the first few steps for how to start contributing to open source software. Okay. So a lot of people know, I believe it is, know what Hacktoberfest. And the first thing which I would be saying is, if you are, they are trying to push people into what do you call this? They're trying to push a lot of people into open source by awarding them with a lot of things. For example, there are like so many things that you can do with when you start getting into GitHub and open source. The first thing is, if you just create 4 pull requests which are meaningful, which add value to a lot of repositories, boom, there you go. You will win a free t-shirt. I won one yesterday, so it's on my way, and it looks really nice. And that is actually a motivation for people doing a lot of like new things in GitHub. Okay, so getting a lot of people inside open source is one of the main reasons for them to do this one. Okay, they are doing it every year. Every year, October is a Hacktoberfest month, so you would be doing a lot of things. It's actually like a Amazon Big Billion Day or something like that for open source software. That is exactly what is happening. So it's an open source celebration, as said by Aditya Vardhan. Okay, and um, Aditya Thakur has actually said most first time issues are for documentation. How to make a good readme? This is really a good question, because even I have been struggling a lot in creating the best readme possible, but I haven't done it in a better way yet. So a lot of repositories have, like, the good readme and stuff like that. I guess even there is something like let's try talking about good readme. Oh, not in mine. Sorry. Look at this, a good readme template. So that's one thing. Then I'm just gonna quickly look at all these things. There's also one good readme generator. So let's all look at all these things. So this is something totally not right. So let's try this one. I guess this looks like really good in this case. Look at this one. So it has like a nice project title, a description. We have like so many different summaries. Like we have a table of contents, how to getting started. These are the prerequisites that you need to do. Installing a step by steps things to install things, and then running the test, etc. So it looks like a lot of things are there. But I would suggest, okay, let me check mine. Like this is something which I created. So this is for contribution guidelines. Okay, so before that, let's go to this resume. And if you look at this one, this has a good table of contents. It has like first timers only friendly. It's actually first timers friendly. There are so many stars here. Okay, that's only 13 stars, folks. And the amount of usage of this particular repository is 71.1% of JavaScript. And what exactly resume is, and what are all the table of contents? If you see that the major objectives, what is the tech stack that's been used in this particular repository, how to get started with these things, what are all the system requirements that are needed. Let's we are starting with these things. Okay, so then we have got contribution guidelines. If you want to contribute to it, what all things that you need to use, what are all the learning resources that you can take for working on this one, what is the motivation. And I this project was actually submitted as GSSOC, one of the projects as for Girl Script Summer of Code 2020, which happened between February, March, and April and May this time. So what are all the FAQs? Who are all the mentors for this, and who is the project admin? So every single thing is being like explained in this part. And then this whole project was created with the help of the community. And I was just looking at the project, and like was just looking at how people are like contributing it, and then I was just approving whether this is okay or like not okay or something like that. So looking at this is what actually happened in the GSSOC part. And then finally, how we can start contributing to it. The first step, okay, I'll just go to the contribution guidelines. This will give you a good idea of what we need to do for contributing any open source software. Okay, Ayush says, take a look at the generator. It is really good. What do you mean by that? Just explain in the comments. Okay, so let's go back again. So here we have got the contribution guidelines. So the first thing is, what are all the rules for this? We have a code of conduct. So you have to have a look at it, and then you need to make sure that has been um, adhered to, because like this one is for um, Girl Script Summer of Code, where like loads and loads of, around like I guess 50,000 participants came in for this open source people. There could be good people, there could be bad people, there could be malicious people, there could be people who don't know anything, there could be gullible people. So we follow some kind of like rules and regulations. So there is something that is something that you need to first inform the people who are contributing to it. Then the next thing is pull requests. Always, all the open source software, the way you need to contribute is you follow a pull request methodology. So when I say pull request, in GitHub it is called as pull request. In GitLab and other things, it is called as merge request. The syntax changes, but it's the same thing. Merge request in GitLab, pull request in GitHub. So the first thing is we will be using something called as a Git flow, where the first thing is you go see a particular repository. Okay, I want this particular repository, I want to contribute to this repository. So you go to this repository. The first thing that you do is you just click on the fork button, and then you kind of create a carbon copy or a Xerox copy of this repository, and then this repository will be under your name. So which means you have all the permissions and you have all the features that are available for a repository that you own, but it is actually a fork of the original repository which is created by someone else. Then the next thing is you need to find a particular so first thing is locally you have to clone it. I feel that local cloning is always better so that you can test things out. So this is a coding based repository, right? So it is always better to run it locally, check everything whether it works or not, and then you can update it. Then finally, how do you clone it? You clone it using the git clone command. Before that, I just wanted to confirm if everyone is able to see the whole screen. Are you able to or not? I'll try to zoom in a bit. This is the clone command that I'm using. So what generally GitHub does is it doesn't give you this part. So what I generally do is I just copy my username and put it in front of github.com with an @ symbol, which means I don't need to type in my password every time. So once I clone it, I try to get into the whole thing. And let's say if I'm working on an issue number 2, okay, so issue number 2 will have some kind of a name. Okay, I need to update the CNAME or something like that. So what I do is I create the changes in my local repository under a new branch called CNAME update, change the files. There are 3 steps into adding a file. So the first thing is I need to check the status, whether making sure everything is changed, and checking whether all these so for someone was asking me how to show the difference between the previous commit and the current changes. So this is a way you can do it using git diff. So with this git diff, you can see that, okay, these are the different changes that I have done. So I'm happy with these changes. So let's go ahead. So if everything looks good and looks all right, what I'm going to do is, first thing is I need to put all the changes into the staging area. So these are the files, like the modified package.json in green color. I believe I'm a colorblind person. So this modified package.json is the area where it is staged. So it says changes to be committed. The next thing is, when it says changes to be committed, which means next step is to commit the changes. Then the next thing is you need to commit the changes with a commit message. The commit message has this kind of a thing. It should be 50 characters in the length for the subject. The message should be, each line should be 72 characters at max, and it should be like a bullet pointed, bullet separated. Second line should always be an empty line, and then at the last you can put fixes number 2, issue number 2, or something like that. So once you have done these things, make sure all the, see, this is where I say about all these things. So the main points are, you need to have only 50 characters for the commit subjects and 72 characters for the commit message lines. At the end, you just use the fixes issue number. Okay, all you need to do is git push it. Once you push it, the GitHub automatically tells you like what you need to do next. So you need to create a pull request for to CNAME update on GitHub by visiting this page. So if you click on that page, it says like create a pull request, compare and create a pull request. Once you click on that, it immediately shows the pull request dialog box, which says the base repository is going to be the CatSynTech resume, and you need to use the head repository here, and then you are comparing these 2 things. It will also show you everything, and then you will also give an option for the reviewers, who are all the reviewers are there, and you need to add these reviewers. Once these things are completed, if everything is fine, the author of the repository will come and click on the merge button. So once it is merged, your code is available for everyone right now. So this is what is happening in the normal thing, and then finally your name will be coming in the original repository. There you go. That's how you need to do all the like a Git workflow. I'm just gonna quickly look into the um, chat messages, and yeah, it looks fine. So that's about generating your own contributions to the GitHub repository. So we learned about issues, we learned about pull requests, we learned about how we can contribute to a repository online. So Dave, are you here? So how was it?
Yeah, now I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
It was quite great. It was quite informative that I think so all the students attending this will have a great information about Git and GitHub, how to take the participant. And guys, I think so that you are also aware about our event which we are organizing, that is Game of Swords. So event link is in the description, and also Praveen channel link is also in description. If you want to connect with Praveen, you can connect there.
So
And
connect
also,
with me on LinkedIn. That's the first thing, and then say hi, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. A lot of things are coming up in the coming following weeks, and we are planning a lot of things to learning. It's going to be like really addictive this time, and we are trying to get a lot of people from there. And thanks for the support for Geeks for Geeks as well. So they are also supporting me in numerous ways, and don't forget to subscribe their channel as well. Go on, Devanshu.
thank you. So, guys, do register in our event, that is Game of Swords. We have prize worth rupees 3 lakh rupees. So, if you guys are participating in that, then I wish that you will definitely get some of the prizes. And thank you so much, Praveen, for taking out the time for your busy schedule. This webinar was truly been a delight, and I'm sure that our audience has a lot more to take back and learn from the knowledge you shared.
I mean, that is really true, because um, I guess there was this person. What is his name? Sorry, I forgot his name. Yeah, Karan. Karan actually called me like, Praveen, there is a webinar tomorrow. Do you want to do it? I was like
Yeah.
half sleep, and I said yes. Just
Yes.
because I said yes, okay, fine, I will do it. And I did not prepare even a single thing, but I wanted to make it really informative. I hope it was good.
This is just a general knowledge you're already doing. You're already into it.
I mean, still, when a lot of people are looking at this, and I have to really prepare and make sure I'm giving the things in a presentable way. I am not even sure how many people did not understand what I said for the last few minutes. So, if that is the case, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Ask me whatever questions, whatever
Yeah,
time. I will definitely answer everyone.
definitely. And guys, if you have some doubts related to this webinar right now, then also you can comment right now with the things. Anyone having any doubts, you can just clarify them right now, guys. Anything, guys?
Thank you so much for the so much love that you are showing.
Sure, sure, Praveen. Then let's
Hey,
end this.
Devanshu, do you want to display my channel link by any chance? Is that okay?
Yeah, I have put that in the description box.
Oh, okay. I mean, on the
Yeah,
video, if you want to, like, so
yeah.
please go ahead and click on the subscribe button down there on this. So that's the channel link for mine. And for people who are looking for, awesome portfolio development and other things, that is also there in my channel. So go ahead, check it out, create your first website, and tag me, tag Geeks for Geeks as well, and then put it on LinkedIn. Any small thing that you do on yourself, try to flaunt it with others. It's not something that you are like showing off or something like that, but it is the basic marketing thing that you need to do for your survival. So make sure you flaunt yourself, whatever you have done, even if it is a small hello world application, just put it out. So there will be like immense, even though there are like some people who will discourage you, out of 10 people, 9 people will encourage you to do a lot of things. They will give you a lot of more ideas as well. There will be always one person who says, what are you doing? Like, you are just doing one small thing and you are putting so much scene and stuff like that. It's all right. It's
Yeah,
completely all right. Don't get
yeah.
carried away by.
You have to keep trying, guys. No one is just perfect with the first thing. You have to keep trying and start small, guys,
Yeah.
and you will definitely grow.
And I'm expecting every one of you to send me a quick LinkedIn request with a small message saying what was your experience and stuff like that. That will be really, really, really helpful. And this is a good way of connecting with strangers or connecting with people who on LinkedIn or all on the social networks. So first step, connect with me. Second step, try connecting with some powerful people who can give you a job. There you go. Then start building your own network. Once you build a good network, what exactly do you need in our life? Number one, a good high paid salaried job, a good environment, positive people around you. You get it?
Yeah. Sure, guys. So thank you, Praveen. Thank you very much. So
I'm so
let's
happy.
do this session, guys. So we will take a leave, guys. Have a nice day. Be safe. Bye bye.
And don't forget to subscribe to the both the channels. Bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.